So if we talk about helping people, helping the readers use the magazine, that's all very well, but that might imply that there's a wrong way and a right way, and there's only going to be one way, and perhaps, you know, if you come down the side that the New Yorker approach is correct, then therefore all magazines would look like the New Yorker, or indeed if you thought Grazia was correct, then all magazines would look like Grazia. But that's not, there's an underlying basic functionality that one can bring to editorial design, but above and beyond that there's a secondary part to the equation, which is, if anything, arguably even more important, and that's bringing character to the pages. So you can bring legibility, you can help people navigate and understand where they are in the magazine, but you then have to actually start expressing a character and making it, you know, just as New Yorker and Grazia are different to each other, well, there are deliberate ploys and techniques being used to, and reasons behind those differences. So if we have a look here, we're going to have a look at a magazine I was involved in when I was working at John Brown, a London customer publisher. This is a magazine for the RBS group, and if any banking group in Britain represents the problems that the financial sector have been suffering from recently, it's the RBS group. So a very tough client to experience over the last sort of 18-20 months. This is a magazine that was given out in branch. It very much wanted to be brash, celebrity-driven, very populist. Hence the TV star on the cover, who I imagine is someone that is just, you look at, you haven't a clue who it is, but you know the sort of person. She's on TV, she's presenting a game show on Saturday evenings. And this took a lot of the design sensibility from the newsstand. So it is a celebrity, there is a big headline, and some of the sort of basic techniques like using a big number, the drop-ins at the bottom, etc. It's trying to imply that it's a real magazine. It's not a brochure, it's not anything else. It just is using the basic grammar of making a magazine cover. But that was then, that was before the crisis, that was before the financial crisis, and it was felt that not only was that kind of route kind of too brash and in your face, but you know, just in terms of the detail, the sort of the cover lines: buying Christmas presents, fancy a winter break, house hunting, all big expensive ideas. And obviously, you know, the magazine is published on behalf of a banking group because they want you to borrow more money, spend more money, etc. Still, the magazine still exists. The magazine still wants to try and do the same job, but it's been significantly altered design-wise to calm down. It's still aiming at the same market. It's still very mid-market, mainstream. Take That are exactly the same kind of market as Test Daily, but it's calmed down. And instead of saying the magazine that helps you get the most out of your money, it's talking about smart ways to spend and save. So the language has changed and the visual language has calmed down. The colours have calmed down. Still the same things. There's still a big number. It's a bigger number, but it's instead of being attached to brilliant buys for your bathroom, it's now attached to the idea of canny spending ideas for you and your family. So it's much more homely, it's much more down to earth, and the design reflects that. It's calmer. There's the one big headline is the name of the cover star. It's not pushing. It's more relaxed. It's more laid back. Slightly more upmarket feel to it. It's a bit more grown up. It's a bit more serious. It's not trying to shout so hard to get your attention. They know there have been problems, and they're there if you need them, rather than shouting at you. So that's what I mean by character, and that's one magazine, and how the look and feel alters dramatically. Just going off on a slight tangent, this is a magazine produced by another customer publisher in London. Happens to be for Coutts, which is a very, very, very upmarket bank. It's traditionally known as the Queen's Bank. It's part of the same group as the RBS group that the previous magazines were created for, but this is absolutely the other end of the scale. This is it's presented as a journal. It's a journal of interest. It's very, very vague about its. It's very clear about its provenance, being from the bank. It has a logo on there, but it's not saying anything other than you might be interested in this. You might, and you might be. But if you have a look at it, it's very. diary-like. It's very playful in its presentation, but it's all hardcore business stories. It's all, my business is focused on excellence and paying attention to detail. So it's case studies. It's basically a book of case studies, but it's presented in a very different manner again to the previous version. We're heading towards the reader here. Peter's point was very well made at the end of his presentation about the Mini International, and we'll get there in a minute, but a few more case studies from me first. 2 magazines, again, John Brown magazines. These were both published by the company at the same time, but were both at utter extremes of customer publishing. The one on the right is for B-Sky B, which is Rupert Murdoch-owned satellite television broadcast platform. When we were publishing it, it was a monthly magazine that was printed. We printed 7 million copies every month, and it was by far and away the biggest magazine in the country. And it reflected its provenance, and we'll come to have a look at that. Carlos on the left and I show them in relation in terms of size. This one is slightly cropped down A4, and that one's slightly larger than A5. They are very different size, but the differences aren't just there, as you can see from the visuals. Carlos was an in-flight magazine for Virgin Atlantic, and it was published post 9/11 to encourage a club feel in the upper-class cabins on Virgin Atlantic. I'll just take you through a closer look at the two of them. Sky magazine, I always say it's exactly as you imagine it would be if you know Sky Television. And that's not to diss it. I mean, I say that as a proud boast. It's very brash, product orientated, selling orientated. This is a magazine that is just the only magazine that gets, the only contact that you as a subscriber to Sky get, apart from the fact they take a hunk of money out of your bank account every month. So this is the one positive, other than having a TV service, of course, but the one active thing that they send to you every month. So they want you to buy more, use more, upgrade. In worst case scenario, they want to remind you why you've got the service, so you're not going to drop the service. It's all about churn and keeping you as an active spending customer. So it's all about the programme. So obviously it's about The Simpsons, it's about movies, sport, it's brash, it's in your face, it does its job, it does it well. There's a little bit of design going on there with the headline, but fundamentally it's telling you what's on. It's reminding you, you know. And it works hard. There's a big interview with Ben Affleck, fine, and it's based around one movie, but there happens to be a whole load of other movies featuring him. So list them all. Tell you when they're on. There was a segmentation program, so if you didn't already have the upgrade to get Sky Movies, you'd be reminded that you could get that upgrade, etc. It worked hard. It worked very hard.